Peace, everybody. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every single night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we break down the latest events, the biggest conversation, the strongest ideas, and we do it not like a news show, not like a podcast. This is a global classroom. And I want to welcome everybody who is present for the global classroom. I'm going to shout out a few people here, just a few who are members of the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, because y'all hold us down every single night and y'all make this happen. Farrah, of course, was the first in the building. So we're going to shout you out. Thank you for doing this. Nessums, haven't seen you before. Thank you so much for joining. Abel Tesfaye, thank you for being here. Always good to see you. Rachel's here. C. Shada, I see you, sister. Coyote Hole, I see you here. Odette Marie, always here. Boaz Kim Music, talking about them. Oh, you got a bag of salt and vinegar chips too. Yo, I'm trying to tell y'all, the salt and vinegar chips is the move. Y'all don't know. Nicole Davis is in here. Keenan Bullard is here. Sahura is here. Roy is here. I appreciate you so much. Karen D, is good to see you. I think I shout out Omega. You're going to get 2 shouts out. Jazz LP still riding high on the fumes of that wonderful birthday. Shout out to you, Dallas's finest. Love Jones 757, Uprising Consulting. Jeremiah Muhammad, the brilliant political scientist, is in the building. Maria G said, did anybody see Shy Davidi's tweet about Mark? Yeah, that's that professor from Columbia who is interesting fellow. We'll talk about it maybe at the end if I got time for office hours. Uprising Consulting, I think I shouted you out already. All right, y'all. Roy, shout out to you one more time. I think that's everybody for now. I know more people coming in the room. Adrian's in the room. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Osman, thank you so much. Odette Marie, thank you so much. Super Anonymous coming up from the left coast. We love you. Kep C. Pasilla, shout out to you. Pamela Jones says, smash that like button. Listen to Pamela Jones, y'all. Hit that like button. Every time y'all hit the like button, it helps YouTube and the algorithms know that we're outside. It lets them know that the content is important to you. It lets YouTube know that people are resonating, or it's resonating with the people. So make sure you hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Last one, Shayla McKinnon, shout out to you and Chad Zichterman and Jawad Towns and Jenny B and Potlab PhD and BW. I wonder if it's Barry White. Oh no, Barry White's dead, so it's not Barry White. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Let's get started because we got a lot of ground to cover. Absolutely. And I want to get right to it. The first thing that I want to talk about is y'all president, Joseph Robinette Biden. I am old enough to remember when Joe Biden was saying that he wouldn't be sending any weapons to Israel. It was last week. Remember that? Remember when Joe Biden said that he would not be sending any weapons to Israel if they're going to be used for a ground invasion in Rafah, and the progressives were standing up and the liberals were standing up. And look, I myself said, look, it's a positive sign, but he's already done enough damage to last 1,000 lifetimes out there. I didn't trust it. I wasn't confident in what Joe Biden was saying. I wasn't confident in what Joe Biden was doing. Well, turns out my skepticism was well warranted. The Biden administration will be sending $1 billion. $1 billion, that's billion with a B, in a weapons package to Israel. Again, this comes only 1 week after pausing shipments over Israel's invasion in Rafah, which had been looming and has really begun at this point, and also the use of Americans in the killing of civilians. This new package includes $700 million in tank rounds, $500 million worth of tactical vehicles, and $60 million worth of mortar shells. I'm telling you these breakdowns. I don't want y'all out here saying, oh, well, it's the defensive. It's to strengthen the Iron Dome. It's just to stop Hamas from shooting missiles. No, this is offensive weaponry. $700 million for tank rounds, $500 million for tactical vehicles, $60 million worth of mortar shells. And again, Biden threatened to pause the shipments to Israel if they launched a major invasion on the Gazan city of Rafah. Since then, we have seen tanks and troops enter Rafah. We are watching now. I think the number is 450,000 Palestinians have fled Rafah. There were 1.5 million there sheltering and finding safety because they were unhoused, because they've been pushed out of the entire region. And now they're fleeing Rafah. Why? Because of the invasion. Netanyahu's not pretending there's no invasion. Netanyahu's not acting like there's not an invasion. U.S. can't even say, well, we believe what Netanyahu tells us. No, he's telling you what he's doing. There's an invasion. When Biden pulled back last week, Netanyahu said, we'll do it alone. We got enough weapons and guns to invade Rafah without y'all. So if Netanyahu is still invading Rafah, why would you reward him with weapons, President Biden? And if he told you last week he got enough to do this without you, why are you sending more? It just doesn't make sense. Unless Biden has decided or hoped that his little progressive cosplay last week was enough to lure in the left, that everybody put their guard down and said, okay, finally we got an excuse to vote for Biden again, because y'all need an excuse. Y'all desperate for an excuse to vote for Joe Biden. That seems to be almost what it is. Or pressure was applied behind the scenes, and Biden is getting in line. I don't know what kind of pressure could be applied. I don't know if it's the Congress, specifically the House. I don't know if it's the Senate. I don't know if it's the Israeli government. I don't know if it's the UK, France, Germany. I have no idea what's happening behind the scenes, but what I know is this is a bizarre about face. I mean, why grandstand on the idea that you're not sending weapons to Israel because of a pending ground invasion in Rafah, and then not even 7 days later, literally you ain't even just sending the weapons. You sent, I'm sorry, you didn't just send the money. You sent the actual weapons. You're sending weapons that are going to kill people. How do you justify that? Joe Biden's going to lose in November. And when he loses in November, he has absolutely nobody to blame but himself. He has absolutely nobody to blame but himself. There is no justifiable reason. If you're trying to win an election, to make this choice, unless you're following the old school Democratic playbook and tactical logic that says the blacks will fall in line. The college kids hate Trump. They'll fall in line. The old people are going to vote for me. Jewish people are going to vote for Democrats, even if Republicans are pro-Israel. We're going to get everybody's information. We're going to get everybody's demographics. We're going to get everybody's voting pattern. We're going to break it down and realize that we're still best playing the center and not worrying about it. Somebody wrote in, Annie Lou said, I hope Morehouse shows out. She's referring to the fact that Joseph Robinette Biden will be the commencement speaker at Morehouse College. I hope what happened at Duke with Jerry Seinfeld looks like a drop in the bucket compared to Morehouse. I want every single one of you Morehouse men to stand up and walk out. I want every single one. I want y'all to boo, remember in Half Baked, boo this man. That's what I need from y'all. I need that kind of energy. I need boo this man energy, because I swear, I promise you, this is not okay. This is not okay. And we got to do something about it. All right, y'all, let's move on to another story, because I'm frustrated, man. A United States Army officer just resigned over the Biden administration's support of Israel's war on Gaza. I want to show you this picture. This is a picture of Major Harrison Mann. You see him. He wrote a letter about his resignation, and he put it on LinkedIn. And part of what he said is this. He said, it is clear that this week, some of you will still be asked to provide support, directly or indirectly, to the Israeli military as it conducts operations in Rafah and elsewhere in Gaza. I am sharing it now in the hope that you too will discover you are not alone. You are not voiceless, and you are not powerless. So far, at least 35,000 Palestinians have been killed. more than nearly 80,000, excuse me, have been hurt since October 7th. This man is a hero. This man is a hero. I'll tell you why. Because he saw the death count. He saw the violence. He hears the tactics. He hears the strategies. And he recognizes that even if he doesn't shoot a gun, even if he doesn't launch a missile, even if he doesn't give an order, he is still complicit in the killing of Palestinian people as an agent and as a representative and as a soldier in this military. And so he said, I am going to take a step back. I can't in good conscience do this. We saw people in the State Department do the same thing. They said, look, I can't credibly stay here and say I'm advancing democracy when I'm watching people die and I'm watching the Biden administration be dishonest about it. I got to go. So if they're willing to do that, what do we do? What do we as citizens do? You're not in the military. You don't walk away every day having launched a tactic or a strategy or given a directive to hurt somebody. You're just watching the news and going to work. You have to ask yourself, though, how am I connected to this? Am I voting for candidates who are underwriting a genocide? Am I spending my tax dollars, or are my tax dollars being spent in ways that reinforce this vicious apartheid state? And if so, how can I stop it? Am I part of a company that has investments, or do I own a company that has investments, or do I support a company that has investments in this? In other words, this soldier is a hero because he walked away from a career, he walked away from money, he walked away from a lot. I mean, as Omega saying here, look at his ribbons. He is highly decorated. This was not a small thing. This wasn't somebody who was just in basic training and walked away. No, this is somebody who has devoted his career believing in the American project, believing in the American democratic experiment, believing in the American empire. And he's watching a death count that rises because of our commitment to supporting, aiding, and abetting genocide. And this man walked away. When soldiers start walking away from your military, Mr. Commander-in-Chief Joseph Robinette Biden, it means you're doing this all wrong. Because soldiers are the most loyal people to this nation state. They're proudly carrying the flag for you. And now they're turning away. This is starting to be Vietnam all over again. It's not our direct war, but this war didn't happen without us. Soldiers are walking away. The media narratives are changing. The popular consensus is shifting. The world is looking at this different, and you need to understand why. Anyway, we got much more with Night School coming up. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 30 seconds with much more tonight of Night School. I got conversations about racism. I got police officers. I got crazy parents at school. I got some pop culture talk for you. I got it all right after this. Stay right here. Night School. Welcome back to Night School, family. We are here with a lot to cover, including more law enforcement misconduct. 66. Wow. 66 Los Angeles County probation officers have been put on leave for misconduct. The department made this announcement yesterday, Monday. In the statement, the LA County Probation Department said that 39 officers out of the 66 are accused of general misconduct with things like excessive force, child endangerment, child abuse, drug possession, and negligent supervision. Some of these officers worked in places like juvenile facilities. 18 are suspected of sexual misconduct, 9 for arrests unrelated to employment. The department hopes that this announcement will help to, quote, regain the public trust. This is So disturbing. I mean, 66, I'm going to say that again, 66 probation officers in LA County have been put on leave for misconduct. Now, look, people get put on leave for misconduct in lots of jobs, lots of places. I get it. But 39 of the 66 are accused of things like excessive force, child endangerment, child abuse, drug possession, and negligent supervision. This is awful. It's even more awful when you understand that some of them worked inside of juvenile prisons, juvenile jails. These are people, these are people whose job it is to oversee young people, to protect young people, to enforce or impose order and ethics and morality and decency and a commitment to abiding by the law. And these probation officers are walking around with heroin and crack and coke and weed, not maybe not weed, but heroin and crack in their pocket. These are people who are walking around doing inappropriate things with young people. 18 of the 66 have been arrested for things they ain't got nothing. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. 18 have been arrested or suspected, at least, of sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct, 18 of them. And 9 have arrested, ain't got nothing to do with the job. So they could have been arrested for DUIs. They could have been arrested for being serial killers. I don't know. In some ways, the 9 is less concerning to me than the fact that the other 57 are engaged in acts of misconduct directly tied to the job. That means that you're carrying drugs and engaging the people you're supposed to be supervising. That means that you're doing harmful things to children. That means you might be having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a child or with an adult. These aren't all child-related things. You know, some of them worked in juvenile facilities. But what you're seeing is a culture of corruption. When we talk about corruption in the criminal legal system, we're not just talking about crooked cops. We're not just talking about police officers that beat you and sell drugs out the back of the police car and all of that kind of stuff that we know happens, especially in Los Angeles. We're also talking about DAs and prosecutors, district attorneys on the one hand, or public defenders on the other, who engage in acts of misconduct. We're talking about judges who literally are roofing kids. They're giving kids, when I say roofing, I don't mean the drugs. I mean like giving kids 1 trillion years, giving adults 1 trillion years because of financial arrangements that they have backdoor. The criminal legal system being corrupt includes parole officers and probation officers. People are supposed to be checking into probation as a means of not caging them, right? It's a form of decarceration. And in some ways, a form of excarceration, right? We're going to say, hey, instead of putting you in a cage for drug possession, we're going to let you go to work and just check in with the probation officer to make sure you're following the rules. We want you to go to work. We want you to keep your family. We want you to stay in society. We want to help you be part of community. Sounds great. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. But the person who's supposed to steward that process ain't following the rules. Because when I go in to see my PO and I say, hey, I've been doing all the right things, sometimes those probation officers are saying, well, you're not doing the right thing if you don't have sex with me. Or, look, I'll give you clean urine if you buy your drugs off me. This is what's happening. And again, 66, that's a small number. 66 is a small number. There are many, 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 many more where this came from. Many more where this came from. And it's important that we recognize that this is not an outlier. This is baked into the system. Everywhere we go, everywhere we see a criminal legal system, we see corruption. It's not that cops are naturally corrupt. It's that systems of power are naturally corrupting. And so whenever you give people that much control over people's lives, this is exactly what you're going to see. This is exactly what you're going to see. This is exactly what's going to happen. I want to take a quick pause because I see people in the comments asking me something that I think is incredibly important. I got a note here from Roy that said, Mark, can we please talk about Al Aqsa? And I do want to talk about Al Aqsa because what we saw today, just to understand, today is Israeli Independence Day. And because it's Israeli Independence Day, there are numerous people who have uh, taken it as an opportunity inside of Israel to not just celebrate the creation of Israel as a settler colonial state, but who have also used it as an opportunity to antagonize Palestinians and to advance a right-wing political agenda. And so one of the things you see here is today inside of Aqsa Mosque, what we have seen is a raid basically of Al Aqsa Mosque by extremist settlers. What you see here is literally people, hundreds. I'm not talking about a few people. I'm talking about more than 500 Israeli settlers rushed into Al Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest mosque in Islam. It is the crown jewel of Jerusalem for Muslims and for Palestinians, just as the Western Wall, also known as the Wailing Wall, is for our Jewish brothers and sisters, just like the Church of the Sepulchre is for my Christian brothers and sisters. These settlers go inside, they rush into Aqsa Mosque on Israeli Independence Day, and they raise the flag and they start performing Talmudic prayers. They sing loudly. They do things that are um, that are they do things that are designed to incite. There's nothing wrong with performing Talmudic prayers. There's nothing wrong with singing loudly. There's nothing wrong with exercising your faith. There's nothing wrong with raising your flag, but you don't rush into Al Aqsa Mosque. You don't desecrate a mosque, just like you don't desecrate a church or a synagogue. You don't rush into there, often under the fake premise of we just want to pray. We just want religious liberty. This is not about that. This is about invading a space for incitement. I have stood in front of Al Aqsa Mosque many times. I have stood inside of Al Aqsa Mosque and watched settlers come in. I've watched the incitement. I have stood inside of outside of Bab al-Majlis or on the other side of Bab al-Amud and watched them line up from Damascus Gate, Bab al-Amud, and come all the way down to Bab al-Majlis, to walk all the way down the path, all the way to the Muslim quarter, and yell at Muslim women, taunt Palestinian women. I've watched them do this. I've watched the settler days. I've watched them. And there is nobody who could watch this. 526 settlers storming into a mosque on a Tuesday. And you have to understand, these are not people who are just Zionists. These are not calm, reasonable people with whom I just have a political disagreement, or you might have a political disagreement. This was a march that was sanctioned and even called for by groups like Lahava. Lahava is a Jewish supremacist far-right organization that is often sanctioned and banned on social media for calling for violence. They explicitly call for killing Palestinians. They explicitly call for bombing mosques. And last week, Lahava was literally inciting violence in Aqsa. They put up a huge banner on a main street in West Jerusalem. And if you look at the banner, it said, it says on Independence Day, that's today, May 14th, we will raise the flag in the mosque. Then there's another group called Women for the Settlement Temple. And they also said, let's storm the mosque. The group isn't unclear. They literally want to take the third holiest mosque in Islam, Al Aqsa, and strip it away from Muslims and give it back, or give it to, they would say give it back to Jewish people, give it back to the Zionist movement, give it back to the settlers. That's what they would say. This is what's happening on Israeli Independence Day. And I don't think that it is a coincidence. I don't think that it is surprising. I think that it is quite telling that on Israeli Independence Day, they commemorate this Independence Day by doing what? By taking Palestinian land, by taking Palestinian property, not literally taking it like in terms of taking over ownership of it. It's actually controlled by the Jordanian Waqf or the trust. Um, but symbolically occupying it, symbolically taking it over, and calling to permanently and literally take it over, terrorizing Palestinians. If you've ever been inside of Masjid al-Aqsa, when Zionist settlers storm in, which I have, this is one of the most terrifying things that you could ever experience. You don't know if you're going to live or die. When they start sound bombing, when they start trampling, when they start shooting. Oh, anyway. So you all asked me to talk about Aqsa. I was going to, I've been thinking about it, but I wanted to give you that update because I think y'all needed to have it. I want to pivot though, because we have to talk about some other stuff. A federal court says it may not be able to rule on a lawsuit challenging a trans woman's membership in a sorority. Last year, 6 members of the Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority filed a lawsuit after a trans woman named Artemis Lanford joined their local chapter at the University of Wyoming. The lawsuit was thrown out because the judge believed he couldn't define what a woman is for this organization. Also believed the judge that he couldn't decide whether or not she belonged. The sorority sister's lawyer argued that the sorority council was unfair to sorority members by changing who could belong. And today, 3 judges in the U.S. 10th Circuit Court of Appeals heard arguments, but the University of Wyoming is the state's only 4-year public university. It's been thrust into the national spotlight because of this issue, as trans people fight for more acceptance inside of school activities. I gotta be honest with you. This is an issue that I want to learn more about and that I want to talk more about, because this doesn't land easily for me. If we begin from the premise that trans women are women, and I believe trans women are women, I believe trans men are men. If we begin from that place, then it seems like an obvious and uncontroversial move to say that a sorority admits women, a sorority has women. These are women. So, like, there's no problem here. But I think if we scratch beneath the surface and we have a more nuanced and complicated conversation that doesn't begin from a place of transphobia, that doesn't begin from a place of questioning the humanity or the legitimacy of trans people, we should ask some questions, right? Like, for example, are there experiences, are there spaces, are there practices, are there ideas, are there networks, are there communities in which cisgendered women or cisgendered men should be able to bond, right? Are there any experiences that cisgender people should be able to have independent of trans folk? Are there experiences that trans folks should be able to have independent of cis folk? This is a question. I'm not saying this is my answer. I'm asking, this is the question. And I think the problem is the people who are most committed to having that conversation are people who don't love trans people, people who don't honor or respect trans people. But if we, again, begin from a place of acknowledging and recognizing and affirming the humanity and the womanhood and manhood of trans people, respectively, if they so identify, then the question becomes more complicated to me. For example, I pledged a fraternity. I know what that's like, and I know what that experience is like. And there are things about that experience that, and I'm sorry, there's something in my eye. There's something about that experience that was deeply valuable, and it was about a certain kind of bonding experience with my brothers. would I have cared if a trans man was in there? No, I would not have. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would not have cared. Not at all. I wouldn't have cared. Would they want to be in that space? Maybe not. But that says more about the toxic masculinity in fraternities than it does about the trans person. What I think more about is what it might mean for trans women. When a trans woman is in that space, is it simply transphobia? Is it simply transphobia if a trans woman is applying for membership to a sorority? Are there any legitimate issues that could be raised? Are there any legitimate questions that could be asked? Are there any legitimate concerns that we could be able to engage that aren't bound up in transphobia and trans antagonism? I don't know the answer to it. This is what I'm saying. I want to learn. I want to have this conversation. I want us to talk through it. And so I'm curious to know what you all think about it. I don't have an answer. I think this sorority raises the right question. I think this lawsuit raises the right question. Anyway, there's a longer conversation we can have right now, but somebody said, I want to take this question up now. Mark, can you think of any concerns outside of uncomfortable? Yeah. I think so. I think that there are questions for women around safety. I'm not suggesting that the trans woman is a threat, but there are other concerns around safety. One, it's hard to answer that question without talking about the sort of underground rituals of fraternities and sororities that I don't feel comfortable doing in a public space. So it's not that I don't have an answer to that question, but I would have to talk about things that I don't talk about in public with regard to these organizations. So it's a complicated answer, and those who have pledged understand what I'm saying, I think. But particularly if you pledge a fraternity. I can't speak to sorority life because I never pledged a sorority, but I did pledge a fraternity. But I worry that these conversations often become reduced down to simply denying the manhood or the womanhood or even the fundamental humanity of trans folk, or it frames them as con artists or threats. It frames them as predators or interlopers. And I don't think that that's the right conversation or the healthy conversation. But I also think that we can't assume that anyone who has legitimate concerns about trans participation within certain cultural and social spaces is automatically being transphobic. I mean, I think there's a legitimate question that can be asked about what it means, for example, for a trans woman to participate in track and field or swimming or boxing. I mean, these are legitimate questions I think we have to ask around biology, around competition, around fairness, that I don't think are reducible to, everybody's homophobic, transphobic, everybody is the same, everybody is, there's the problem is, again, so much of this conversation has been organized by people who are transphobic, right? There was like one trans person running track, and you had governors all around the country making laws to protect women and girls, but it wasn't about protecting women and girls. It was about shaming, and it was a solution in search of a problem. It was like, how do we beat up on trans folk? How do we shame them? How do we mobilize voters to get to the polls and vote their fears and not their aspirations? So there's a way that I understand why these conversations are so weird, because they're not being had by the right people. But what about people who genuinely worry about the well-being of trans folk and want to affirm the humanity and womanhood of trans women, for example, but also think that there might be a competitive disadvantage of a trans woman running track or boxing or swimming. I don't think that that's a I don't think that's an inherently taboo conversation. It shouldn't be an inherently taboo conversation. I don't believe it should be, but that's just me. Um, and I'd like us to have that conversation. I'd like us to have an analysis of that. And unfortunately, you know, Rizzo says there's only two genders in this world. Mark, stop gaslighting. See, this is the problem. We presume bad faith in people. Like, I'm not gaslighting. I'm expressing an opinion. You may disagree with that opinion. We can have an engagement. But if you begin from the premise of either genuinely believing or as a rhetorical strategy saying, basically, if you don't agree with me, then you're being dishonest and trying to gaslight people. It's like, no, maybe I just look at the world differently and let's have that conversation. Um, and no, there aren't two genders in this world, right? I mean, there might be two sexes, right? That's a biological category, but two genders, no. I think again we're having different conversations, and I think part of what happens with this trans issue is that we're often talking past each other. Rizzo says neutral gender bathrooms. I'm not sure why are gender neutral bathrooms so bizarre to you. Why are they so confusing to you? I mean, did you have a male and female bathroom in your house growing up? When you went to your grandmama's house for Thanksgiving and there were 15 people in there and somebody was in the bathroom, you knocked and waited for them to leave, whether it was your auntie or your uncle, your mama or your daddy, your boy cousin or your girl cousin, whoever was in the bathroom, what'd you do? You waited for them to leave and you went in. You know what they call that? That's a damn gender neutral bathroom, Rizzo. That is a gender neutral bathroom. Everybody's house has a gender neutral bathroom. Relax. You've seen one before. The world didn't catch on fire. Relax. But somehow um, we've decided that when it comes to the public sphere, we have to do something different. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. We got one more story. I got to get to. I know I've been yapping, but I got some energy and I'm outraged today. I'm filled with outrage. But we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about. I specifically want to talk about um, trans sports. That's going to be a whole special topic. It's going to be a debate. It's going to be a conversation. It's going to be an analysis. It's going to be a deep dive. I want to know it. Bill Seabury says, bring on nominal Naomi. She's a trans woman and knows all the science and more. She's brilliant. I'd love to. That's a great name. I'm going to tell Princess, because Princess is smarter than me and got a better memory, to write that name down. We're going to look for nominal Naomi. Let me write it down too. And I will look for her and I will bring nominal Naomi on. Oh, PhD candidate. Oh, think she's better than me? Think she's smarter than me? Now we're gonna bring on nominal Naomi, and we're gonna have this conversation about. This is fascinating. Wait, PhD candidate, mother of three, breastfeeding advocate, God's strongest soldier in the war on transgenderism. Oh, I'm confused. I don't know. I'll look it up. I want to make sure it's the right person to bring on in terms of the politics of it, but we'll build on it. We'll talk on it. But yeah, let's do it. All right, let's move on to um final story. This one is a story that's been going viral. Twitter's been upside down about it all day. Black Twitter has been on fire about it. We got to talk about this. A father is going viral after sharing that he and his brothers jumped the dad of a 7-year-old girl who was bullying his daughter. Actually, I believe it was a 9-year-old girl. A father is going viral. I'm gonna do that again because I want to do this right, because we're gonna cut this and put it on the internet, and I don't want to have bad information. A father is going viral after sharing that he and his brothers jumped the dad of a 9-year-old girl who was bullying his 7-year-old daughter. He made a TikTok, right? And he broke down his reasons for turning to violence. Again, His daughter was 7, but she was bullied by a girl who was 9. He and his brothers decided to jump the girl's dad as a solution. And I had to understand why. So I went to his TikTok and I listened to what he had to say. Here's what he said.
Brothers jump her daddy after school. I'm sorry. I know that was probably a traumatizing experience for you. But we kept asking you to stop bullying my daughter and you wouldn't listen. We sent letters home. We even had a meeting with you and your parents and you wouldn't listen. So now you know your actions have consequences. And since you too young to receive those consequences, you had to watch your daddy take those consequences. It's therapy. You'll be all right.
Get some therapy. You'll be all right. All right. So there were a lot of people who responded to this. And I got to be honest with you. I responded to this because I'm like, this sounds wild, right? Again, 7-year-old girls getting bullied by a 9-year-old. He's literally trying to explain to this 7-year-old girl why his big grown self and his homies his jumped her father in front of her. Let's be clear. They didn't just jump the dad. They jumped the dad in front of her so that she could see it. And he said, I know this was probably a traumatizing experience for you. And then he's trying to explain, like, we tried to stop you. We went to the school. We did all these methods. This is all we had left. And he said, get some therapy. You'll be all right. The cavalierness, the dismissiveness of it. This is very frustrating. And of course, there were mixed responses, as the internet always is, mixed responses over what he did. A lot of people supported him. Other people, like myself, questioned his actions. He heard all the criticism and he actually responded to the criticism too. Listen to this.
Y'all keep asking why I didn't fight this man one on one and why I got my brothers to jump him in front of his 7-year-old daughter. And the answer is simple. Life is not fair. You get jumped by responsibilities every day. Bullying is not fair because you're picking on somebody that's essentially a weaker vessel and that's smaller than you. So I wanted to make sure she saw what it looked like when a fight is not fair and you don't have no choice but to let somebody jump you. So she could get the concept of what she was doing. Sometimes kids learn from what they see and not what they hear. So I wanted it to be a visual experience, okay? I'm out here doing the Lord's work, okay? God is pleased with me whether or not y'all are.
Wow, I don't know, a homeboy got to speak for the Lord. I'm being told I got the ages wrong, that both of the kids are 7. My understanding was that the bully was older than his daughter. I know his daughter was I see. My brother got to jump in front of his 7-year-old daughter. Okay, so it sounds like I am wrong. So the everybody's 7. Everybody's 7. That makes it worse. I felt better when the kid was at least 9. So everybody is 7. A bunch of 7-year-olds are having problems. One is bullying the other. I get it. I have children. I've had children who were 7. I've had to deal with bullying in school. I've had to go up to the school. I get it. But this man is trying to tell you that the Lord is pleased with him, that he's doing God's work by jumping a grown man, jumping him, jumping him in front of his daughter. Rolando says, wait, did he talk to the dad first, ask him to discipline? So he said, yeah. He said that they met with them at the school. They wrote letters. They met with the parents, and apparently the kid did it anyway. There's a lot here. First of all, I don't know what kind of bullying we're talking about. Is this like social exclusion? Is this saying somebody's shoes are ugly, or is this somebody being physically violent to somebody? All this matters, but let's assume it's the worst case scenario. Jumping the kid's father in front of her is, when you're 7, is crazy. Now look, I've been a parent. I'm not a pacifist. I'm not saying that we sometimes um, don't have to use violence. Sometimes you do. And if my kid were getting physically bullied, I would encourage my kid to fight back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would encourage my kid to go to the school. encourage my kid to follow the rules. I would follow the rules. But if my kid was getting physically bullied, I'd encourage my kid to defend themselves and to fight back. That's one thing that sort of makes sense to me. Even if you don't agree with me, that's fine, right? I think teaching people to defend themselves after being bullied is fine. We just can disagree on that, but I absolutely have no problem with that. But if I go to the parent and the parent is trying to help, look, sometimes kids do stuff that parents don't know about. Anybody who has kids knows that times your kid go to school and they be somebody else. The kids be like, look, you be like, my kid wouldn't do that. And then you look through that window, or you overhear your kid do something, or you get a report your kid do something, you be like, oh shit, my kid did that. I had no expectation. I had no idea that my kid would do something like that. So it would be, if you told me, look, my kid, if you said to me, Mark, your daughter is bullying somebody. And I say, okay, I want to talk to her. And I say, look, you can't bully this person no more. You can't. This is wrong. My kid says, okay, and they come to school and they keep bullying the kid. And I don't know about it. And I'm walking to school, dropping my kid off at school, and all of a sudden 6 dudes get out of the truck and just jump over me and beat me up because my kid did something. How about we meet again? How about we talk again? How about we work through it again? I can see if I'm like, fuck you, I ain't doing shit. Blah, 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 what you gonna do? Like, I can see if it's on some rah-rah stuff, but like you just gonna jump the parent? What message does that send? Again, I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. Adrienne says 6 dudes. Stop. Look, you're right. That was a hypothetical. How many dudes was it? I know it was more than one. Because this is my thing. If you said he went to the parent and said, "Yo, if your daughter don't stop bullying my daughter, me and you gonna have a problem." If he said that, and then he physically got into something with the father, I could even understand that. I'm not saying that I would endorse it per se, but I could at least understand saying, yo, if your daughter keeps bullying my daughter, me and you gonna have a problem. I understand that. But why are you jumping them? It ain't even like your kid was getting jumped. Your kid got bullied one-on-one. Why are you jumping somebody? Why are you jumping somebody? Come on, man. What kind of trauma are you subjecting this kid to permanently by jumping her dad? But not just the bully. What does this do? What does this do for your kid? Is your kid going to be socially excluded now because your dad going around jumping people's parents? That sounds like bully shit to me. That sounds like bully shit to me personally. You didn't even fight the father one-on-one. Or if Adrian's raising up important point, even if he did fight the father, why in front of the girl? If you want to teach the father a lesson to get him to stop doing the shit for his son or for his kid, y'all could have fought and not in front of the kids, but now you beating up people in front of first graders. What message do you think you sending to all the kids? And let's also consider what the worst case scenario is. So now this dad gets jumped. How does he respond? Because I know how I would respond if you jump me. If I go to school, drop my kid off, and a group of dudes that look like him, and by look like him, I'm talking about brolic, a bunch of big ass dudes jump out the car and jump me and whoop my ass. What do you think I'm gonna do tomorrow? You think I'm not gonna come to school? You think I'm not gonna defend myself? You think I'm not gonna retaliate? So now you got parents warring over first graders. What if somebody had died? What if one of them dudes that jumped out the car and it was a city like Philadelphia? I got a right to carry. I got a legal right to carry a weapon in Philadelphia. If you're in Philadelphia like me, you got a legal right to carry. If 4 dudes jump out the car, 3 dudes jump out the car, and they start jumping on me, I promise you, like what Jay-Z said, I got the snub nose for niggas that love to box. I'm not fighting 3 dudes at 45 years old. I'm lighting their asses up. They're gonna all get us some hot ones. So now what's gonna happen? Now you got 3 dudes, 4 dudes dead. Now you got people dead over first grade bullying. Come on. What if somebody had a heart attack during the fight? we have to do something different. Look, I hate bullies. We need to do something about the bullying. But how do we get to the core issues? This is the problem, man. The kid is bullying for a reason. Why don't we get to the heart of that? Why don't we figure out what the kid is doing and why? Why don't we figure out how to make people whole? Why don't we get to a restorative practice, a healing practice? We can't fight our way out of problems any more than we can arrest our way out of problems, but it's the same logic. It's the same logic that logics of violence and revenge can heal us and fix us. Again, I'm not a pacifist. I've had to check dudes for how they came at my daughter when she was in high school. Directly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that everything has to be pie in the sky and a great by and by. I'm not saying that. I understand what it means to be a father of a black girl out here. I understand what it means to have to protect a black girl out here because I've done it. This isn't about that. This is about saying, how do you get from step 1 to step 2 to step 10? And it seems like they went from step 1 to step 10. You can fight for your kid in lots of ways. You can protect your kid in lots of ways. But to get up to jump the parent is wild and it's indefensible, man. And it's how we end up dying, man. Black people especially, man, we can't afford to treat each other this way, to engage each other this way. And I'm not reserving all my smoke for the parent and not for the bully. I'm saying the bully is also wrong. And the parents have to do everything they can to engage the bully. And look, some of y'all gonna say, well, look, we don't even have all the details. You're right. I'd love to get this brother on my show. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to interview him. I'd love to talk to him about everything that happened. But I'm less concerned about this story and more concerned about how we're responding to the story. Even if the story weren't true, even if this is somebody just capping for TikTok to get likes and clicks and engagement, the point is people believe this story and they are supporting his actions. And we all pay the price for it, y'all. Anyway, that's the show for tonight, man. I want to thank y'all for watching Night School, man. I'm going to take a couple quick questions here, and I want to shout a few people out. Again, I want to shout out Francesca Martinez because Francesca Martinez just became a YouTube channel member, and we love when people do that. We got X's Sketch Comedy Show. Thank you for your generosity, and peace to you as well. I'm trying to do God's work. I don't know if that's an alpha symbol or if you just saying like hang loose. If you're saying hang loose, I'm with you. If you're throwing up that ugly alpha symbol, the answer is no. I don't want no parts. Coco the Gamer said thoughts on the Ann Coulter Vivek interview. The interview with Vivek Ramaswamy and Ann Coulter was epic. It was entertaining. It was disgusting. It was tragic. It was frustrating. And I broke down the whole thing on Office Hours this past week, and I did a special Office Hours. So go to the channel, go over to my to the list of conversations I had, and look for the recent one 3 days ago. Excuse me, I think it was Saturday I did it. I sat down and I broke down all the things wrong with Ann Coulter's comments to Vivek and all the things wrong with Vivek Ramaswamy's response. Say Rugged Man shout you out in Destiny's podcast. Oh, that's love, man. We're gonna get Destiny back on here or on here. I was on his show. We're gonna get Destiny on this show to have a conversation as well because I'm fascinated about that. Roy, I was happy to be able to break down El Aqsa for you. That's what we do. Omega came through with 10 memberships. Omega, we are grateful to you, my sister, as always. Thank you for being who you are to us. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for doing all the things you do in our world. We're grateful. And hopefully y'all took advantage of them 10 Marc Lamont Hill memberships. This is how we support the channel. So please grab those memberships. And if anyone else wants to donate memberships, we would be incredibly grateful. We're going to look here and say, Andre Jones. He said, hopefully I can still talk about Gaza, but why isn't all the left asking for Biden to resign? We would ask the same of citizens of other countries. This is a genocide. Are we so afraid of Trump to do the right thing? Yes. The answer to your question is yes. I don't know if y'all know the great Bobby Womack. He had a song that KC from Jodeci remade on the Jason's Lyric soundtrack. If you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight. Y'all know that song? If you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight. If you think Joe Biden is bad, wait till Trump come back. There is no refuting the point that Joe Biden has been horrible on Gaza, horrible on Palestine in general, horrible on Israel. He is an unabashed, enthusiastic, self-described Zionist. So I get why y'all don't rock with Joe Biden on this issue of Gaza. You're right. But let's not be unclear. Donald Trump was worse. Donald Trump ceded contested land. He gave the U.S. a stamp of approval to yielding land in the Golan to Israel, even though it's not, even though it's occupied. He didn't create the Jerusalem Embassy Act, and he certainly didn't become the first president to support a move of the embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. But he's the first person since the 90s to not sign that waiver. UNRWA, no matter what you think of the UN Relief Works Agency, and no matter what you think of how Biden has abandoned UNRWA and thrown it under the bus because of Netanyahu's bizarre and unsubstantiated claims about UNRWA being tied to terrorism, Donald Trump cut all UNRWA funding without an allegation of terrorism. It was Biden who restored it. So again, I'm not defending Biden here, but let's not pretend that Trump isn't worse. So yes, you can call for Biden to resign and bring Kamala Harris in temporarily. But Kamala Harris has given no indication that she's anything but the same when it comes to Israel-Palestine. And you can hope for Gavin Newsom, but he ain't no different. Obama wasn't much different. There's nobody on the horizon who's much different. But Donald Trump is worse. I'm not saying that to make you vote for Joe Biden. I'm saying that just as a political reality. Do what you want with it. Rose Billy said, please have mods on the episode where you talk about a trans guest. Oh, absolutely. The comments get ugly. Also, respectfully, there are more than two sexes. That's a fair point. There's intersex. There's it's complicated. I was less making a point. You're right. I should have been more clear. My point was less about whether or not there were two sexes or not, and more to point out that the person Rizzo was conflating gender and sex. That's all I was really trying to say. I apologize. You're right. It's more complicated even than that. Bill Williamson said, will you teach us some on Black movements? Absolutely. We're going to talk about Black movements very, very soon. In fact, this Sunday, we're doing a whole special office hour, Sunday night, 10:30, with a brilliant scholar, Joshua Myers, who's going to talk about what Black Studies is and what the relationship is between Black Studies and Black movements. So you're going to definitely want to check that out. Do you ever do events in Philly? All the time, brother. And I have a bookstore, Uncle Bobby's, where we talk about all kinds of stuff all the time. Do you ever do events in Philly? Oh, I just answered that. I'm sorry, I'm slow. Gifted 5 MLH memberships. BW, thank you. Thank you, BW, for gifting 5 MLH memberships. You have no idea what that means. We're grateful. We appreciate you. And again, hopefully y'all grab them things up because it means a lot when we do. How do we topple the duopoly? By organizing. That's a longer conversation we can have tonight, but we're going to have Jill Stein on soon. We're going to have Cornel West on soon. We'll break it all down. But to topple the duopoly, you got to organize. Organized people defeat organized power every single time. Omega for president, I wholeheartedly co-sign that. And not just because Omega be donating. How do you sign up for a membership? I think, right. So if you want to join the channel, and thank you for that question, Ashley, it's much easier to do. Can y'all show her in the chat and send a link? But if you're doing it on the desktop, you can just hit the join link. But there's also a link inside of the comment section in the description of our videos where you can click the link and immediately go you can immediately go and hit the join button. So you can I'm gonna say that again. Somebody will drop it in the chat right now. Also, if you go to our desktop and hit join, you'll see the join link right there. It'll say subscribe and then join. It doesn't show up on the phone, but on the actual page, it'll say subscribe, join. If not, we can find you a link, but please hit that join button. Also, if y'all are out there joining, some of you have been members for months and you wanted to increase your support for the channel. I ask you, if you want, you can upgrade from bronze to silver. It's a $4.99, I think $4 or $5 increase to go from bronze to silver. So it only raises you by $5 a month. But if a significant number of you do it, it really increases the reach of the channel and our financial capacity. Oh my Lord. Chad Zichterman. Oh my God, Chad Zichterman. I'm so overwhelmed and grateful. 50 memberships? 50 memberships? Oh my God, Chad, this isn't the first time you've done this, and I'm so grateful to you, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support of the channel. Thank you for your support of everything that we're doing here. Chad Zichterman just gifted 50 Marc Lamont Hill memberships. That means a whole bunch of y'all online right now about to get hit with a membership. So first of all, y'all should be grateful to him because y'all gonna have some membership privileges, those who didn't. But beyond that, oh my God, just thank you. I don't even have the words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're trying to build something here, and knowing that this channel is resonating with you enough to be able to donate 50 memberships. Whew, my God, it says everything about you, Chad. Thank you so much, my brother. Somebody saying the night school emblem logo has a sun. Is that right? You keep saying that. That's fine. I don't know if it's true or not, but I like it. So we're going to have to work on that. I like it. So we'll figure it out. I graduated from college last weekend, but not night school. That's right, Bob. Night school is the ongoing continuing education. You got, first of all, congrats on graduating from college last weekend. Shout out to you. I know that ain't no small thing. But beyond that, yo, night school is a whole other game. We out here learning every day. Look, I'm still learning in night school. So thank you. Did I hear about the block celebrities trend? I have. I don't quite get it. People are just kind of blocking celebrities. I'm not sure what the impact of that is supposed to be. But I'd like to learn more about it. Maybe we'll bring somebody on to break it down because I don't fully get it. Kamal just donated $5 with a super sticker. Thank you so much. Mr. Difficile, Difficile, I love that name. Agrees with the black, examining black movements. So I'm with it. I'm with it. Let's do it. Again, let's do it. You get no objection from me. You get no pushback from me. Let's make it happen. That's all I want to do is make this stuff happen. That's all. Again, BW gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got a new member, Mike Boy 2. The boy just got a whole lot mikier. That's again a great ass name. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Jenna said Chad Zichterman is the GOAT. He is the GOAT, yo. Princess working extra, yo, factual, all actual and factual. Somebody said, what happened to the Mumia podcast? What happened to the Mumia podcast is that I'm trifling. We got about 10 new episodes. We got about 10 new episodes out here. At least 10. I'm going to send some out tonight. We'll have, I know Princess is going to kill me, but we're going to try and put 2 out this week. If not 2 this week, 1 this week, and 2 next week to catch up. But I got a bunch of episodes. I've been negligent in getting them out because of the process of communicating with Mumia through the prison system is not easy. But I have the episodes, and I'm just trash. I ain't got nothing else to say. By the way, my sources say that the celebrity blockout is about ad revenue. It's a way of it's a way to bring pressure to celebrities who are keeping quiet. It's a way to hit their pockets as they're not speaking out on the issue. So I'll do more reading on that, so I'll know. But absolutely. Do you ever do events in Atlanta? Absolutely. I just did some stuff in Atlanta last month. I'll be back in Atlanta probably in a month or 2. I'll let y'all know when I get on the road. Now that we have night school every night, I'll let y'all know the cities that I'm in so that y'all come out, show support, love. I appreciate it, the support and the love. Nabil Sunnah just dropped 5 more memberships. Yo, y'all are so killing it tonight. I am so grateful to y'all. So grateful to y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity. And again, hopefully people will scoop them things up. What do you think about AOC saying she would prefer for Biden or any other Democratic presidential candidate to run? what else you gonna say when Biden is the one running? Um, you can't say I sure wish Gavin Newsom were running. Sure wish Kamala Harris were running. I sure you know what I mean. Like you play the hand you dealt. Is it true? I don't know. It could be that she believes it right now because she needs to believe it. I don't know. I don't want to assume the worst in her. I don't want to assume she's lying. I think she might believe it. And I think here's the other thing. She might be right. When she says she prefers him to be running, it doesn't mean she supports him the most or agrees with him the most. It might just mean she thinks he's the best shot to win. And the truth is, given the lack of a bench in the Democratic Party, given how shallow the networks are, given the fact that Bernie ain't running and probably wouldn't win at this stage, given the fact that some of the more radical insurgent candidates are operating outside the party, the Cornel Wests and the Robert Kennedys and such. Actually, no, the Cornel West, I should say, and the Jill Steins. It's going to be tough to beat Biden in the party, and it's going to be tough to have a better turnout than Biden. I still think Biden's going to lose, but I think he might be the best shot. So I get what AOC is saying, even though I can't say, even though I can't say what her logic is. How is Mumia doing? He's doing well. I talked to him Saturday. He called me today. I couldn't pick up, but he's doing well. He's fighting the fight. Look, the state is trying to kill him, and he refuses to die. And that resistance is beautiful, but it's also exhausting. And so the key is to keep supporting Mumia, to keep supporting his cause, to keep helping to organize and fight so that he doesn't have to defend himself and his life alone. And again, we'll have one podcast, just one, because Princess says she'll murder me, and she will. We'll have one podcast out this week, inshallah, and we'll see what next week looks like. Somebody said, do you prefer memberships over Cash App payments? This is an interesting question. I mean, it depends on what the membership is. I mean, ultimately, I want people to do what's comfortable. I want to give you as many options as possible. Cash App payments are great. They come directly to me, and they're very supportive. I think the thing about memberships are that they bring a consistency. If I want to be transparent with you, they bring a consistency. If you decide to pledge, $10 a month and get a silver membership, that helps support us monthly, and we know we're getting that. That's recurring. But if you want to send Cash App $10 a month, I prefer apples to apples. I take the Cash App over the membership because we don't lose the fees. Cash App comes directly to us. But a lot of times people do Cash App once, but they're not going to do that every month. Whereas the membership is a way of having a kind of consistency. So that's it. We got two more. How do you receive a gifted membership? I set my option to receive gifts. If you set your option to receive gifts, it'll just come to you. And given the fact that at least 75 memberships were given out tonight, 75 memberships, you should get one if you're in the building. Omega said, I would love a conversation around how to deal with Israeli propaganda in the workplace. Oh, let's have that conversation. We'll set some office hours this week, and just remind me of that, Omega. You ain't got to pay nothing, do nothing. Just remind me of the question. I'll make sure that it gets answered, because I think it's an important one, but also you're a valued member of our community, and you've been so committed to helping us thrive, as have so many of you, that, it's my pleasure to answer that question. Thank you all for watching. Oh, we got a couple more. I'm sorry. I can't read every single one here, but I will read. Dash 333 said, what Destiny podcast were you shout out? I don't know. I didn't hear it. But I'll keep you posted. Jeremiah Muhammad said, come to Memphis. I'll be there, bro. I was there this past summer. I'll be back there this year as well. I'll let you know as soon as I arrive. And I really mean that. Brittany said, how much are memberships? Memberships start at $4.99. They're $5. If you hit the join button, you can join a bronze membership for $5. And they go bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. So they're 5, 10, 25, I believe. Oh, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, yeah. 5, 10, 25, 50, or 100. I'm grateful for any of those, whatever you can do. I don't ask people to do more than they can. But the reason why we do the memberships is so that we can have a support base to pay our bills, to expand, to invest in growth. I don't have a billionaire or even a multimillionaire funding this. I don't get $1 of funding from anybody. I work at Al Jazeera. That's the only media job I have. I love it. But this right here, I own. I create this platform. I support this platform with my own money and resources. That's how I pay for editors. That's how I pay for an amazing producer. That's how I pay for technology. That's how I pay for the studio we're trying to build. And so when you all join the channel, you create a kind of monthly consistency that allows me to be able to say, okay, we got 1,000 members, 2,000 members. The goal is to have 5,000 members by the end of this year. Right now, we're at 1,000 members. The goal is to have 5,000 permanent members, um, so that we can grow. And again, YouTube takes a big chunk of that money, so I don't keep all of that. But the goal is to raise a community of 5,000 members. That means that we don't have to um, have a million views of a video to be able to break down Zionist propaganda at the workplace. We don't need to go viral in order to have an interesting conversation about trans participation in sports. We can just have our community of night school participants. We can have our community of Marc Lamont Hill channel participants. We can have our community of people who care about what we care about, and we can sustain ourselves and we can grow. Because I do have to hit the road. I do have to disappear. I do have to write books. I do have to do other things. But it's much easier to sustain this channel when we have other voices, when we have other technologies, when we have other stories. And it allows me to stay here when it's sustainable. And that's all I want to do. I'm not trying to get rich off of YouTube. I ain't the goal at all. All I want to do is create an educational space, a global classroom for people who are thinking about radical ideas and progressive thoughts, and people who want to change the world, and people who want to, help engage in radical political education. I want to do that. Only way we can do that is with your support. If you don't want to join any of the channel and any of that stuff, that's cool. You might want to make a one-time donation. If you want to do that, just go to Cash App MLHTV or Venmo MLHTV. Again, Cash App MLHTV or Venmo MLHTV with the @ Those will come directly to me. Right now, if every single person, for example, if everybody who's watching right now were to Cash App or Venmo $5, just $5, and see it as like this month's payment. If everybody were to Cash App $5 right now, we would have enough to pay for staffing, to pay for editing, to pay into our studio fund. If everybody just gave actually $4, excuse me, not 5, 4. If everybody just gave $4, we'd be able to do that. Now, you can always give more, but if everybody who's watching right now just gave $4, we'd be well on our way for the month. So it's possible. Anyway, enough about money. The most important thing as you watch here is to hit the like button and to subscribe and to watch the video, to share the video. Please share the videos. Let the world know what you're watching. Tweet it, Instagram it, send links, but share the content that we're doing here and let people know when you watch it. Watch those ads too. I know everybody skips the ads, but the ads are what make content creators successful, right? If you don't watch the ads, then content creators don't get paid from the ads. So watch the ad, support the channel when you can, and if you don't have a nickel, that's fine. Just show up and be part of this wonderful conversation. Be a wonderful part of this global classroom. Jared Bell, I appreciate that, brother. You said you're joining the channel at the end of the month. That would be wonderful. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.